everyone is having a wonderful day. It's Dr. Shernay, and I'm here just to talk about this situation with Brian McKnight. He used to be one of my favorite singers back in the day, and just with all this press going on with him right now, I felt like saying a few words. And for those who haven't heard, so Brian McKnight, of course, he's been married and divorced, and he's moved on and remarried, and has had a child with his new wife. Well, the thing about it is that his first wife, he's had children with her. And then there was one child that was a result of an affair that he had. So he's had that child. And I believe there may be one more. So I believe there are 4 children here. Either way, it's 3 or 4 children that he is completely not even acknowledging exist in favor of his new wife's children that are not biologically his, along with the child that is biologically his. And they had one son previously, but that child passed away. They've since had another son, and that he's named Brian Jr. But the thing about it is his oldest son is named Brian Jr. And, from his posts on Instagram and things like that, he's going on and on about the new wife's children and about how this particular son is his namesake and he never knew love before and he never knew that he could feel like this and he wasn't sentimental and so on and so forth. And, this son is going to get the fruits of his labor and blah, blah, yada, yada, yada. Now, you have children from your previous marriage, previous relationships. How are you going to act like they never existed? I have serious problems with that. And I know I'm probably going to get some comments on this. I really don't care because these are my thoughts. This is my opinion. But I have absolutely no respect for a man that does not claim his children. And why won't you talk about women? I'm talking about men in particular, this man. So that is why my comment right now are addressed to men. I have no respect for a man who doesn't even acknowledge his older children. And there are some people that are saying, oh, well, his children were disrespectful and they got out of line. Listen, that is what children do. Sometimes, okay? You're not always going to agree. And maybe some of the stuff that they went through or saw that their mother went through with him, because from what I understand, he has been very abusive. He was abusive to her. And children particularly do not take kindly to their mothers being abused by anyone. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be their own father. Children do not take well to watching their parent be abused. And so if this was the case, then yeah, I could understand even, them feeling anger or whatever. But then he's even said, during their formative years, he was on the road. These children were born in the 90s. And that's when he was most active, was during the 90s, touring and performing and acting and, because he's had guest appearances in some TV shows, right? He was doing all of the things. And with children, it takes more than just throwing money at them. Like, your presence is more important sometimes than the money. Yes, it's very important to have money because kids are expensive. Children are very expensive. Okay. We understand that. However, it takes more than money to raise children. They need their father around. They need, a healthy male figure, a healthy father in their life. And so he was already absent for their formative years because he was on the road. He was doing this, he was doing that. And then so to say that, oh, well, they're grown now and that's it. It doesn't matter. Like, my grandparents were well into their 80s and they would never not say that my mom or uncles, aunts were not their children. That's asinine. Children don't stop being your children because they grow up. Like, that's what children do. Children grow from children to adults. Like, that's what happens. That's what's supposed to happen. That's what you want to happen. But you still claim the children. That's still your child. Until my dying day, I'm going to be my mother's child. Until her dying day, my daughter is going to be my child. She doesn't stop being a child because she turns 18, 25, 27, 30, 35. That doesn't change the fact that that is my daughter and that I will claim her. And yeah, we may get into some fusses and fights and arguments because she's only 8 now. But as she gets older, I anticipate having these things happen because, it's just the nature of growing up. But I will never not claim her because of any of that. And just for the simple fact that he thinks that he can just erase all, trace of his children, it's just, I don't understand. And then for this woman to be okay with being married to a man and further procreating with a man who doesn't acknowledge his biological children. I have problems with that. I have problems with sis because of that. Because what woman in her right mind is going to be okay with a man who does not claim his children? That makes me look at you sideways too, because what is wrong with you? So you don't think that that could happen to you? And you're sitting here further having children with a man who's already abandoned his older children. He's on Instagram buying his stepdaughter a car. And from what I understand, that particular car base price is like $100,000. Now that girl is older than his biological daughter, but he's all ranting and raving on Instagram about how, that she's the daughter that he's always wanted. And so why are you taking digs at your children? That's just low down. I've never been a sentimental man. Then what's all this garbage you've been singing all these years? You have all these songs about love, about marriage. Do I ever cross your mind anytime? I'm starting back at 1. All these songs, but you're never sentimental. Then how did you make these songs? And it's cool for you to have a preference. You like what you like. You date who you like. You marry who you like. That's fine. But for you to elevate one type of woman and put down another woman, that's where I have the problem. Be with who you want. That's fine. But you don't have to degrade one to uplift the other. It doesn't have to be either or. That's fine. You don't have to do that. You don't have to pick and choose. You don't have to, but don't degrade who you were with to make this person feel like they're up here. And sis might want to watch out, because the thing about it is, oftentimes a tiger doesn't change their stripes. So whatever he may have done in the past, it could easily come back around to you. And for him as well. Situations like this usually do not end well for these men. You've denied your children, you've, ignored your children, and then life has a funny way of happening. And things will turn to where the very children that you abandoned become the children that you need. There's a situation that I know of that happened way back in the day. But this lady, she gave away her daughter. She had one daughter, didn't want her. She wanted boys, gave her daughter away, adopted 2 boys. Little girl was raised by her family. Okay. So once that lady hit older age and she developed dementia, who took care of her? The daughter she gave away. The boys were stealing her money, mistreating her. And the daughter that she gave away had to go get her, bring her back. And she lived out the rest of her days with the daughter that she gave away. Because life has a way of happening like that. This is not going to end well for Brian, not going on this type of pathway. And I just can't get over it, because why? I don't understand. I'm confused. I don't get it. I don't understand why people walk away from their children. Why create the children and then mistreat them, or then say things like, well, I never really wanted children with you, or I didn't want, this, that, there, and the third. Well, why did you go about the whole process of doing the things if that's not something that you really wanted to do? So now you have all these children that are now needing therapy because they are hurt. And you're intentionally throwing digs at them to hurt them even more than they already are. And that's not right. You don't do that. You can't play with people like that. I don't care, grown or not. Those are still your children. You don't do that to your children. You don't do that to people, period. But you especially don't do that to your children. There's no telling what kind of damage this is causing. The daughter, she had written something about how she hadn't heard from him in years, and he doesn't call her on her birthday, but yet she sits and waits by the phone every birthday hoping that he'll have a change of heart. Like, that is heartbreaking. I can't imagine being in that situation, wanting my father in my life. My father's just not there, but then I'm sitting here watching him dote on a child that is someone else's. That's not even your child. And then that child is older than me. But you're showering her with all the gifts and all the love and all the attention and all the praise. But you can't do that for your biological daughter. I don't understand. And it's not like it has to be either or. You can love on all of these children plus love the extra children. That's not an issue. So why are you being like this? And some people will try to justify it. I know they will. But there is no justification to me that makes sense. There just isn't. You can't justify that behavior to me. It just does not exist for me. I mean, maybe you can say something that can convince me otherwise. But doing this like this, absolutely not. This is not going to end well for this man. I hope that he has a change of heart. I hope that he goes to therapy because he clearly needs it. And from what I understand, he's not been the greatest person. And it's been like that for a very long time. Just from, what I hear about how he's acted in interviews and just in different places, performances, things like that. This is a person who he's kind of a Devo from what I understand. And sir, you need to get that worked out. You need therapy. You need a coach. Find out what those things are that are bothering you to the extent where you are just totally disregarding that you have children out there that you think you can erase and recreate a family and act like these people over here never existed. Find out why you want to name, or you have named your new son Brian Jr., but you already have a Brian Jr. Think about these children that you have. Yeah, they're grown, but guess what? Grown people still need their parents. My father is deceased, and there's many a day that I wish I could just pick up the phone and hear his voice and get one of his big bear hugs. And just the thought of a father treating his children, and particularly his daughter, like this, It's very painful. I can't imagine. My father is the reason that I'm here, and maybe I'll share that story on another video. But just to be that spiteful and hurtful, and then do it intentionally, do it purposefully, do it to where you know that it's going to be seen, and that these children are going to, see all of this and catch all this backlash. Just how low down can you be? I'm disappointed in, just how this whole situation has shaped out, because it's completely unnecessary. Two families can coexist. This whole situation it just totally didn't even have to happen. New kids can meet the old kids. That could have been a whole different family dynamic. It's a lot of different avenues that this could have gone healthily, but because this individual is hurting, because hurt people, and because this individual is hurting for whatever reason, you want to sit here and wreak all this terror on these children unnecessarily. And some people, oh, well, he cut them off because they were using his money and blah, 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 blah. Okay, that might be. But if that's the case, why is he showering these children that he has no ties to with all this stuff, if that were the only reason? So it's got to be something more than that. And I don't know, they know. He knows, his children know, his ex-wife knows. Those are questions that they need to sit and answer. And at some point, he's going to have to answer for doing all of this. And it may not be soon, but it's going to be a time where he will have to answer for all of this. And my heart goes out to those children, the children that have been forgotten, especially baby girl. And because as a father, as a daddy's girl, there's nothing like it. Like I said, my father is deceased, and I think about him every day. Not a day goes by that I don't have my father on my mind. And to even imagine him acting like this would break my heart. To act like I never existed, to act like, this girl that he has absolutely no biological ties to at all is, the only daughter he has when I'm out here. And I, share your bloodline. But you act like I don't exist. I can't imagine what's going through her head. I commend her brothers for stepping in for her and being, that powerful role model, those male models that she's needed. But it's nothing like the love of a parent, a mother and a father, because both are important. So, Mr. McKnight, wherever you are, I hope, as I said, that sorry, someone called and interrupted. But I hope that you go and seek therapy, that you make amends with these children, because life is very short. If there's one thing that we all have learned in the past couple of years, life is very, very short, and it can be gone in an instant, and you never know who you're going to need for what. And the way that you treat people is going to determine what happens to you. And right now, this is not a good road for you. Denying your children, acting like they never existed, that's not the move, sir. And again, to the wife, I hope that you are crystal clear on what's going on, because this can certainly come back around to you. Well, you all have a wonderful and blessed evening. If you are looking for a life coach, if you've been through a situation like this, if you've had, trauma, if you've had situations such as this that have happened and you need some help to get over things, you want to talk to someone, you're ready to let go of the pain and grief and start living your best life, please do not hesitate to book a consultation. We'll talk about it and we'll see what we need to do to get you living your best life out loud. Have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed evening.